BBC News. Hello, I'm Tom Watts. There's been strong condemnation by the government and opposition in the Maldives of an attempt to assassinate the country's first democratically elected president, the current Speaker of Parliament, Mohamed Nasheed. Local media report the Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for the attack, a bomb blast near Mr. Nasheed's home. And Barasan Etirajan reports.
Mohamed Nasheed, now Speaker of the Maldivian Parliament, was rushed to a hospital in Male after the blast. Hospital authorities said Mr. Nasheed had suffered multiple injuries, but his condition was stable. The explosion happened just before a nighttime curfew was due to go into effect in the capital as part of measures to contain coronavirus. Mr. Nasheed, who was forced from office in 2012, has been an outspoken critic of hardline Islamists. The Foreign Minister, Abdullah Shahid, strongly condemned the blast, saying cowardly attacks like these had no place in Maldivian society.
The US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has said the process of withdrawing all contractors working with US forces in Afghanistan is underway, with military aircraft being deployed to protect the departing contingents. Peter Bowes reports.
According to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, 6 B-52 long-range bombers and 12 F-18 fighters have been deployed to protect the departing contingents. They include 2,500 US service members and 16,000 civilian contractors. General Milley added that while Taliban insurgents launch between 80 and 120 attacks every day against Afghan government targets, there'd been no attacks against US and coalition forces since the withdrawal began on May the 1st.
A police operation in the Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro has ended with the deaths of at least 25 people, including a police officer. Local media reports said 2 passengers on a metro train were also wounded. Candace Piet reports.
This is one of the largest number of fatalities in a single police operation in Rio de Janeiro for years. The city has been relatively quiet during the pandemic, with police operations restricted by the courts. The images were dramatic, with local TV helicopters filming armed men fleeing from the police over the rooftops. During the operation, the state ombudsman said people in the neighbourhood of Jacarezinho had appealed for help, saying the police were committing rights abuses.
An unknown number of university students have been kidnapped in the southeastern Nigerian state of Abia. The group was abducted on Wednesday, the same day that 29 students seized last month in the northwestern state of Kaduna were released, reportedly after the payment of a ransom. Such abductions have become common in parts of Nigeria. On Thursday, military chiefs appeared before Parliament to be questioned on security challenges in the country. World news from the BBC. A proposal backed by the World Trade Organization and the United States to waive international patent protection for COVID-19 vaccines has been rejected by Germany. The WTO had urged member states to start negotiations in earnest on proposals to enable more manufacturers to produce the vaccines. But the German government said the main constraint on vaccine production was capacity, not patents. Polls have closed in elections in Britain for the devolved assemblies in Scotland and Wales and local government authorities in England. A Westminster parliamentary seat is also being contested. The vote in Scotland will be particularly closely watched, as Jessica Parker explains.
I think one of the big moments expected to come around sort of Saturday afternoon, evening, as we get a fuller picture of what has happened in terms of the Scottish Parliament, and particularly whether the SNP, Nicola Sturgeon's party, has gained a majority and can therefore push again for that referendum on independence that it wants. A referendum, of course, that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, has made it clear that he will resist.
A State Department official has said the US and Iran could both return to compliance with the 2015 nuclear deal within weeks. But the official said that depended on Iran taking the political decision to do so. For its part, Iran has continued to insist the US must end all sanctions before it resumes compliance with the deal. And the tech giant IBM says it's made a breakthrough in the manufacture of computer chips, creating the smallest, fastest and most powerful yet. It says its chip can improve performance by 45% over the currently available products. It will probably take several years for the chips to be marketed, but IBM says they promise to quadruple mobile phone battery life. A current world shortage of chips is affecting production of cars and phones. BBC News.